Hello everyone, I'm Jason, and today I'm going to show you how I turned one of these to one of these. The ships were made from a game which was available in the 2000s called Pirates. Although this game was discontinued, the game pieces are still available through Amazon. I've included a couple of links in the description. It was designed as a strategy card game with the ships being constructed from components that were laser cut from the cards. After freeing the components, I laid the parts out on my printer and increased their printed size to 300%. This size seemed to be a good fit for the foam core board that I was using. I started with the deck of the ship, since it's the main piece which all the other components attach to. After printing and trimming to a workable size, I used a glue stick to adhere the print to the foam core board. Once the glue was set, I used an X-Acto knife to carefully cut out the component. As I cut along the outside, I was careful to follow the edge of the print. When cutting the center slots, I had to make sure that the cuts were the same width as the thickness of the foam board. This would be critical for holding the additional components to the deck. Once the edges were trimmed and the slots were all cut, I began the same process with the sails. So again, I began by cutting the prints and the foam core into workable pieces. And also, like before, I used the glue stick to adhere them together. After the glue was set, I carefully used the X-Acto knife to trim cut the sails. I took a moment to check that the tabs would fit to the deck. Now, since the sails can be seen from both sides, I printed both the right and left images, and the second image was cut before gluing to help align it to the foam core board. Once the second side was glued in place, I trimmed the remaining details of the sails. The right and left portions of the hull were also completed. When all the other parts were glued and trimmed, it was time to assemble. Beginning with the hull, I used my thumb to apply pressure and soften the insides of the two pieces. This made them just flexible enough to allow them to contour to shape, and also allow the tabs to mate with the bottom of the deck. At this point, I can install the sails by inserting the tabs at the bottom of the mast into the slots on the deck surface. Once they're in, I also place the identifying flag at the rear of the vessel. The components seemed to mate together well and didn't need to be glued together, but if they had been a loose fit, a dab of glue at the joints may have done the trick. So, being inspired by this tiny little vessel from a now extinct game, I've brought it to life in supersize. Let me know if you happen to remember the pirate game, or if you just like this video. And if you haven't seen any of my last projects, go check them out. See ya.